Welcome learners, I am Dipankar Basumatary, teaching English in Gajera Rural School, Surat. Welcome again learners. In the previous video we discussed the summary, and in this video we'll discuss the unfamiliar words. And after watching this video, you should be able to do the assignment that I will give you. Anyway, so this is the introduction of the writer, and nouns here means to tell, to tell. What's next? In these paragraphs, the narrator, she describes the town here, and she says that this is a very old town, a tired old town. This is an example of personification. It is giving human qualities to inanimate objects. And she says that the courthouse sagged. Now, what is the meaning of sagged? Once again, the meaning is down. Became soft and bent because the courthouse was maybe made out of mud, and when it got wet, it sagged. It became loose. And then somehow it was hotter than. She is describing a particular summer, and she could see bony mules. Now, what is a mule? It's a cross between a horse and the donkey, hitched to hoover carts. Hitched to means stuck to, tied to hoover carts. Flicked flies in the sweltering shade of the live oaks on the square. So look at these words, flicked flies, which is an example of alliteration. Why alliteration? Because these two words begin with the same F sound. Alliteration. Another example of alliteratory device. In this device, writers use words that begin with the same sound, not spelling. Be careful about that. The sound has to be similar. Okay, so what happened? In these summers, everybody suffers. That is the kind of image the writer is giving us here. So everybody becomes slow. People moved slowly then. They ambled means walked aimlessly, shuffled, paced here and there. And the 24 hours seemed longer than that. It maybe seemed 48. There was no hurry for anybody. Nobody had to go anywhere. Nothing to buy, and nobody had any money to buy anything. But in spite of that, everybody seemed to be optimistic about something. So something was happening in Maycomb, in that place, and people thought that everybody need to be afraid of fear only. Nothing. There was no trouble in that place. That is what it means. And this family lived in the main residential street in town. Atticus, the narrator's father, Jim, the narrator's brother, and Calpurnia, she is the cook. And they found the father rather satisfactory because he played with them, and he read to them, and then he treated them respectfully, but with a little detachment. Detachment means he was not so attached to them. He kept away from them mostly. Hello. And then Calpurnia, she was the narrator particularly didn't like her because she was she was very strict, and she would not let them go beyond the particular point, and she wouldn't let them go beyond the particular point, and she wanted them in her sight so that she could control them. Even if they wanted to play, they could not go, and that is why they kind of hated her. Both the young people, the narrator as well as her brother, hated her. And the narrator describes her. She is kind of hard, and she is dominating. She is always ordering me about, to the narrator's dissatisfaction. Calpurnia always won because she was older, and her father also took her side, and the narrator would call her tyrannical. Now the meaning is given down. The meaning of tyrannical is using power in a cruel way. So slat means is a flat piece of wood used to make beds. So our mother died when I was 2, So this girl, the narrator, did not know her mother much, and that is why she never missed her. But her brother Jim missed her a lot because he had grown up by then. And here the narrator describes her father, his background, how when he got to marry her mother. Jim was the product of their first year of marriage, and 4 years later she was born, and her mother had died out of a heart attack. And she was 6 and Jim was 10. Calling distance of Calpurnia, like I told you before, Calpurnia made a rule that they should not go beyond a particular point, and that boundary was Mrs. Henry Lafayette Dubos's house, 2 doors to the north of us, and the Ridley Place, 3 doors to the south. These are boundaries that were made for them, and they kept the boundaries. They never tried to break them, because there was somebody in a Ridley Place, which was where something unusual, something singular lived, and young children were afraid of him, scared of him, and that is why they hardly dare to go beyond the boundaries set for them. And then one day, and she is talking about this particular day, so they were playing, and then they noticed something happening in the next door neighbor's patch in the field, in the premises. They thought that it was a dog, but when they approached the fence, they could see that there was a boy who was sitting there, and he introduced himself. Jim and Scout kind of stared at him. It was the new boy who came forward and introduced himself. His name was Charles Baker Harris, and he introduces himself and says that he can read, and that was the beginning of the introduction. And the narrator was like, "So what?" And then Jim says, "How old are you?" Asked 4.5, because of the pride that Charles showed. Jim thought that he must have been young, but he came to know that he was actually 7. But looking at his size, he did not look 7. And you look right puny. Puny means very small, going on 7 for somebody of 7. Okay, here are some shortened forms, shortened Americanisms. One is Funyarn. Funyarn means funnier than. Actually, when people speak very fast, some words are not pronounced, and the Americans whose mother tongue is English, that is, these people speak like this: funnier, then longer, then. Here also, you just need to know. Okay, let's go down now. What else we have to here? Dill was a curiosity. It means that he was very interesting. He wore blue linen shorts. Linen means jeans, shorts, and then duck fluff. What is duck fluff? The meaning is given here: soft and fluffy, like a duck's feathers. Okay, let's see what else we need to know. He habitually pulled a cowlick in the center of his forehead. Now, what is cowlick? Hair that grows in a different direction from the rest and is difficult to keep flat. So, he has a mannerism. He has the habit of pulling his cowlick back so that he can adjust it. And the last paragraph here needs a little explanation. Dill blushed means he became red because he was kind of embarrassed. And then contentment is happiness, satisfaction. Routine contentment was something they liked to do, something they always did. Now, what are these things they kept busy with? Improving the treehouse, and then running through our list of dramas based on the works of Oliver Optic. So they like to read dramas, and in this matter we were lucky to have Dill. Why? Because he played the character part formally thrust upon me. Me means here the narrator, and she didn't like the part of the ape in Tarzan and Mr. Crabtree in the Rubber Boys and Mr. Damon in Thumbstick. So after Dill had come, she didn't have to do these parts anymore, and she was kind of relieved because of that. Thus we came to know Dill as a pocket Merlin. Now, what is a Merlin? A wizard. And thus we came to know Dill as a pocket Merlin. Why pocket Merlin? Because he was a kind of a wizard who had a solution to everything. They would always find him handy when in need, and his head was always full of eccentric plans, mad plans, strange longings to do things vicious, and quaint fancies, old-fashioned fancies. So this Dill was a kind of an interesting character.